Someone standing in front of my chalice greeter. One tradition in Unitarian Universalism is lighting the chalice, the symbol of our faith, to open our sacred time together. I'd like to invite Bob Alto, in honor of his birthday, to light our chalice for us today. I guess it's going to happen regardless. Dear Bob, happy birthday to you. And Bob truly is our shining chalice. Today's chalice lighting words come from Lord Stevens. May our attention be befriended, directed, and sustained. With this chalice, may we kindle the flame of our attention, not too fiery or wild, spreading without cause or care, not too dim or fading, unfocused and ineffective, but like a cheerful cook fire in a cozy hearth, like a comforting candle, flickering yet steady. May our attention be befriended, directed, and sustained for the betterment of all humankind.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. I see we all woke up on time. I was thankful for clocks that automatically do this, and the alarm went off at the right time. So we welcome you this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada, where it is our mission to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. I'm Richard Dalton. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am honored to serve as your worship associate this morning. Our land acknowledgements, we acknowledge that Washoe County is located on the ancestral homelands of the Washoe, the Northern Paiute, Western Shoshone, Southern Paiute, and Mojave peoples, the original caretakers of the land that we now call Nevada. Washoe County, formerly named after the Washoe people in 1861, continues to be a gathering place and a home for indigenous peoples, and we encourage their rich history and deep connection to these lands. We honor their past, present, and future stewardship by remembering that the health of the land and its people are inextricably linked. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment by us to beginning the process of working together for a better future. I would like to welcome all of you here, no matter whether you're here today in the sanctuary, our friends and members on Zoom. We welcome you regardless of racial identity, sexual orientation, age, economic circumstances, immigration status, or gender identity. We welcome you. We're glad you're here. If it's your first time or your 100th and first time. And if there's yellow cards in the back of most of the seat pockets, if it's your first time, or if you have, or there's prayer cards, make sure you give the prayer request to me or to Chris. Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Chris Piekarz. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm about 5 feet 10 inches tall, on the slightly heavy side, with light brown hair and a full beard salted with white. I'm wearing glasses, a navy button-down shirt, and dark trousers with a faint plaid design. I might be dating myself, but when the time chase rolls around, I think of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and let's do the time warp again. It's just a jump to the left and a kick to the right. I'm going to leave it there. The month's theme is paying attention, and my emphasis is on paying attention to what's invisible. If you've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life, you already know that one of the invisible things is the difference we make in all the lives around us, even when we miss that because we dream of doing grander things. If you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life, just forget everything I said. Oh, except for this. Yay. Angel gets his wings. The threads of both the visible and the invisible are woven into our lives, the fabric of our existence. Our attention to the invisible ebbs and flows, and it's my intent that the service today will encourage you to pay attention to and expand on what you think of as your invisible connections in ways you may not have envisioned. But now, let's take a moment to work on those connections and greet each other in whatever manner feels comfortable to you. It could be a hug, a fist bump, a handshake, or just a wave hello. We'll call you back to the service by ringing the singing bowl. Please rise as you're willing or able to sing hymn number 359, When We Are Gathered. Hymn number 359, When We Are Gathered.
Today, I want to share with you a Buddhist story that I was told regarding anger and resentment. You have heard the quote, "Resentment is like drinking poison and hoping your enemy will die." I think we've all felt that way sometimes, huh? This story illustrates that when someone gives you a gift, you don't have to accept it. That's new information, I think, for some of us. If someone gives you the gift of anger, resentment, or frustration, it is really up to you to decide whether or not to accept that gift. Along the journey that we call life or the human drama, we may find it easy to accept people's gifts for whatever reason or excuse that we could. But after all, this is your journey, so what will you choose? We are always a work in progress, and we are never going to be perfect in our attempts at happiness or freedom or success. But there are definitely some tools along the way that if you implement, they may just help you get there a little faster. So one day the Buddha and a large following of monks and nuns were passing through a village. The Buddha chose a large shade tree to sit beneath so the group could rest a while out of the heat. He often chose times like these to teach, and so he began to speak. Soon villagers heard about the visiting teacher, and many gathered around to hear him. One surly young man stood to the side, watching as the crowd grew larger and larger. To him, it seemed that there were too many people traveling from the city to his village, and each had something to sell or teach. Impatient with the bulging crowd of monks and villagers, he shouted at the Buddha, Go away. You just want to take advantage of us. You teachers come here to say a few pretty words, and then you ask for food and money. But the Buddha was unruffled by these insults. He remained calm, exuding a feeling of loving kindness. He politely requested that the man come forward. Then he asked, "Young sir, if you purchased a lovely gift for someone, but that person did not accept the gift, to whom then does the gift belong?" The odd question took the young man by surprise. "I guess the gift would still be mine because I was the one who bought it." "Exactly so," replied the Buddha. "Now you have just cursed me and been angry with me, but I do not accept your curses. If I do not get insulted and angry in return, these curses will fall back on you, the same as the gift returning to its owner." The young man clasped his hands together and slowly bowed to the Buddha. It was an acknowledgement that a valuable lesson had been learned, and so the Buddha concluded for all to hear, "As a mirror reflects an object, as a still take reflects the sky, take care what you speak or act is for good. For goodness will always cast back goodness, and harm will always cast back harm." So remember, when someone gives you a gift of anger or negativity, you have the unique opportunity to choose whether or not you are going to experience the world in that way. Don't give away your power. Don't let others live rent-free in your head. Don't retaliate with criticism or judgment. Simply brush it off. Know that what was said has nothing to do with you, and keep on going through life. Nobody has the power to change your vibe but you. These little miracles are just little reminders that on the path of growth, there is always an opportunity to learn and evolve. There are so many people in this world that bring us gifts, and some are disguised, some are nicely packaged, and some are just downright rotten. But if you remember that you are in control and take 100% responsibility for your life, you can accept or not accept these gifts. It is really that simple. This is from Kindness, a Treasury of Buddhist Wisdom for Children and Parents, collected and adapted by Sarah Conover. Now, a short little vignette. About 19 years ago, I had a new supervisor, and I was being subtly harassed, but I couldn't prove it. And my supervisor knew what was going on, and she told me, "Richard, open the umbrella, let it fall away, because it doesn't belong to you, it's not yours." And that was the first time in my life I was given freedom to reject that kind of negativity. So if you have people being negative, remember, put the umbrella up, let it fall away, it's not yours.
Working for civil rights. As a young seminarian, he was involved in the march from Selma to Montgomery in 1965. On March 11th, a Unitarian Universalist minister, James Reeb, was murdered outside a diner in Selma. He had answered the call for ministers to join the activists in Selma and was one of far too many people who died during the civil rights movement. Let's hold a moment of silence to honor their memories. Today, we are again feeling the pain of civil discord, now mixed with what appears to be our country embarking on a spree of worldwide regime change. We apparently have forgotten the lessons of our past, and so now we are repeating those mistakes. For this moment, this time, do your best to push out the outside noise, the worry, the fears, and pay attention to this space, this community, this sanctuary. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, or just admire the lovely views through our windows. Take a moment, just breathe, just be. Sometimes, the best thing we can do is to be still, to pay attention to what is invisible, what is visible, the sun that rises or the moon that sets, the earth beneath us, the sanctuary around us. Pay attention to what is invisible, the air we breathe, the connections to those in our lives, the spirit inside each of us that moves us. Be present. Pay attention to each moment and everything and everybody around you as it unfolds. Your presence and your attention is what makes your existence holy. And one last deep breath. Maybe one last deep breath. Blessings to you all. The theme of my service today is what's invisible are the most important things to pay attention to. Before I dive into that, I want to spend some time on the visible, because the visible impacts and influences the invisible. When I was in my 20s, I was a broke college student. At times, really, really broke. I managed to mostly pay the rent, usually with roommates. I went hungry sometimes, rode a bike or took the bus because I couldn't afford a car, had free or hand-me-down furniture, not a lot of extras or luxuries. Your typical broke student experience. One memory of being broke really stands out for me. I went over to my parents' house for dinner one night, and after dinner, my mom took a package of stew meat from the fridge and tossed a few pieces to their dog Sam as a treat. At that very same moment, sitting in my apartment's fridge was an identical package of the same stew meat, and my big Sunday dinner was planned around cooking that meat using my developing cooking skills to perk it up. I looked at my mom, and in a nice way I said, "You're feeding my dinner to Sam." After that, a couple of times a month, I'd get a call from my dad, and he'd ask me to meet him at the grocery store. He'd shop with me, fill my cart with staples, and add a few extra treats, and of course he would pay for them. When my girlfriend and I had been living together for a while, one of our big epiphanies as a couple came when we decided to go see a movie. After the movie, we realized that we didn't check our wallets or the bank account or go to the ATM to see if we could afford to go to see a movie before we went. We just went. We had enough money. We were no longer broke. Weren't rich, but we weren't broke. My first big career-type job was with a fast-growing entrepreneurial company. Just 16 people at headquarters when I started and 170 when I left. Over that intervening 12 years, I rose from the help desk to become the vice president of IT, managing a staff of 24 and making more money than I thought I would ever make in my lifetime. The company was in the construction industry, so the executive staff was primarily young, manly men, and there was a strong bro culture. I drove a Ford F-150 with a 5-inch lift kit, smoked fancy cigars, drank $300 a bottle bourbon, and I kept convincing my same girlfriend, who was now my wife, that we had to sell our lovely 1,800 square foot house to buy something bigger. Feel free to take a moment and try to square all that with the Chris in front of you today. This is probably not a shock to those of you who know me, but I was miserable there. I had accomplished everything an American manly man was supposed to accomplish. I had the big job, the big salary, the big car, the works. And it wasn't making me happy. And worst of all, it was costing me my marriage. After sorting through the cognitive dissonance between who I thought I should be and who I really was, I realized I had to get out. Fortuitously, around that time the company was sold, and while I didn't have founder-level stock, I had enough stock in the company that I could take a year off and figure out what I really wanted. First on the list of wants was my marriage, and hooray, we're still together. Yay. I stepped out of the rat race and stopped chasing stuff, and I've never regretted that decision. Being broke taught me that not having enough stuff stinks. Focusing all my attention on getting stuff taught me that stuff alone doesn't create happiness. The visible does matter. Having a safe, affordable place to live matters. Reliable transportation, public or private, matters. Even being able to splurge sometimes, to go on vacation, eat at a restaurant, see a movie, see the Reno Chamber Orchestra. All of that matters. We wouldn't be congregated here today without some stuff. The original church building south of us, the building, and this wonderful sanctuary around us right now. Without enough stuff, we live poor lives, literally and figuratively. Having too much stuff can swing the pendulum the other way, and the quest for more stuff is what's driving climate change and has created the existential threat that is now endangering the entire planet. I'm fortunate that I had a career in a field that I found interesting and rewarding, and one of the invisible things I found there is purpose. While I got sucked into a bro culture that didn't mesh with my truer self, and I hated the company I worked for, I loved the work I did, programming computers, being part of an organization that made real things, and in particular, I love and still love managing and working with people. That part of the job, managing people and watching them grow, fed my soul. My life's purpose, my reason for being, is helping others to learn and grow. One of the things I pay attention to now is keeping my purpose in my life. And that's a big piece of why I'm drawn to Unitarian Universalism. One thing we do is we pay attention here to helping one another to each realize and grow into our better selves. I suppose you could say our other spiritual communities do the same, but personally I don't know, since this is the only organized church I've ever been a member of. I think the best part of being a UU is that it's a do-it-yourself spiritual community. We're a makerspace where all the tools you need are here, but it's up to you to build something using those tools. One of my concerns about the current world is that we're going back in time to the 19th century, when people urbanized around the hard work that fed the Industrial Revolution, only to be squeezed as the steel and railroad barons, really most if not all of the barons of the era, shrunk wages and dehumanized work environments as their monopoly on cartel power grew. One of today's top-of-the-news fears is that artificial intelligence will take away jobs. But companies like Amazon and Uber have been squeezing their workers for a couple of decades now, and the employment environment is just getting worse. Meaningless work that workers can't find purpose in, is almost worse than no work at all. I worry that we as a society are forgetting that one of the invisible things worth paying attention to is living a life of purpose, and work can be a part of that. I made a reference to It's a Wonderful Life in my opening, pointing out that another invisible thing is our connections with other people. And this one's, kind of obvious. But not paying attention breaks down those connections, can cause those relationships to disappear. The main reason my relationship with my wife was on the rocks in my executive days was I was paying too much attention to work and not enough to my life. Not paying attention is an easy trap to fall into, especially in matters of the heart. We emphasize finding the person, when really the finding and the falling in love is only the beginning. To sustain a relationship takes constant presence. I don't really like the phrase, I need to work on my relationship. I understand the metaphor. I just think I need to pay more attention to my relationship is closer to the reality. It's a choice made with intention and not a chore. When we forget to pay attention, things start to drift, to fade, and this is true with nearly all relationships. Family relationships can wither when we don't pay attention. Friendships, casual connections, communities all need our attention and our intentionality to sustain them. It's natural for people to move in and out of our lives, to be closer and further away. That's just how the world works. I bet that most of you have friends or family that are far away, and some of those are of the when we're together, we pick right up where we left off type of relationships. Relationships that keep clicking, even with thousands of miles of separation. But I think those relationships are rare. Our strongest relations typically thrive when we're physically together, or at least close to each other. Community is another invisible relationship that we need to pay attention to. And that's what we're doing here right now. We're paying attention to this community. I know when I'm attending service, leading service, going to forum or other events, or even lurking around the empty buildings on a Monday morning updating the computers, I feel better, happier, more connected. I'm a part of other communities, and when I pay attention to those, the same thing happens. One of my communities is a gaming group, and when the group plays regularly, I'm happier, and when we don't, I miss gaming and I miss them. There is an epidemic of loneliness in this country, and I believe one reason for this is that people forget to pay attention to community. Much like I paid more attention to my work than my wife, my suspicion is we pay too much attention to our televisions and other devices at the expense of the communities that surround us. Our devices are amazing, and it would seem there is tremendous potential for connection inside them. But for many people, that potential isn't realized. Something there is broken, and I can't put my finger on exactly what that is. Maybe we're being sucked into echo chambers and losing a nuanced view of the world. Or maybe social media is a poor substitute for the real thing, junk food instead of a healthy meal. Or maybe viewing the curated, perfect version of other people convinces us that we are lacking something, even though those other people are looking at the curated versions of us and thinking the same thing. I took the step a year or so ago of dumping all my social media, more because I got paranoid and thought big tech was spying on me, and not some magic insight into building personal and community connections. I really haven't noticed my life is worse or really any different without social media, but I'm also not a digital native, so I was never really deep into that world. I feel I'm fortunate that I'm digital enough to understand and work in technology, but with roots that are firmly analog. Reverend Kristen's frame for the year is Covenanting Through Collapse. And things are bad in this country right now. So many things, so many ways. It's tough for me to wrap my head around it. I think for the United States, one of the biggest problems is our elected representatives have stopped paying attention to their relationships. The relationships to the people and areas they represent, and perhaps more critically, their relationships with each other. In years past, it was common for members of both parties to have congenial relationships with the other side. Sure, Republicans and Democrats have always had political differences, but outside the House or the Senate, they would socialize, lunch, talk, collaborate. Now it's mostly the opposite. If you're an elected official, you risk being branded with a scarlet A if you're friendly with the other side, or horrors of horrors if you actually vote with them. And the us-them political attitude has bled down to our society as a whole. One of the things that's going to have to change is that we, those of us on the good side, are going to have to pay attention to and fix our relationship with them, or at least some of them, who are on the bad side. I know that's not going to happen right now, and in fact that things are continuing to head in the opposite direction. But fixing those relationships is possible, and at some point it needs to happen. An example of bad relationships becoming better is back in the progressive era of the early 20th century, with the rise of worker solidarity, trust busting, and a host of other work that ended the worst of the excesses wrought by the barons of the era. Another example is the mostly peaceful reassimilation of the Axis and Allied powers in the late 40s and into the 50s. Unfortunately, there are a couple of world wars and the Great Depression buried in my analogies, so, it's not that rosy a comparison, but you get the idea. Not wanting to end there, I'd like to draw your attention back to the relationships right here, the ones we have in this room. The invisible threads between us gathered together, and the invisible threads that reach from each of you to all the people in your lives, stretching out from here, form a vast web of interconnectedness. These relationships are the foundation, the bedrock. These relationships are where we can find shelter now, and from where we will rebuild our broken society. Pay attention to these connections. Build new ones. We need them now more than ever.
Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing 370 in the Gray Hymnal.
It's the time for our offering. We ask that you give what you will for the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that meant so much to those who came before us, and for the church that will mean so much for the people that we may never know in the future. Give what you will. You are a generous people. For those that are physically together here, the sanctuary will be passing the basket. For those on Zoom, you can do your offering virtually. Just follow the steps on the slide. Here at UUFN, and each month we also give folks an opportunity to share our generosity by sharing with a designated nonprofit. This month's Share the Plate nonprofit is Veterans Alliance USA of Reno. Veterans Alliance of Reno is a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting homeless and disabled veterans in Northern Nevada region. Their mission is to build a stronger community that contributes with resources and housing for our veterans. We truly believe that our veterans deserve more than just a thank you. Please pass the offering. slide. Please join with me. To the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Thank you. We have a few announcements. Unitarian Universalist heresies explained this morning today in the Emerson Library at 11:45, right after the service. That's right at catty corner to us outside. Right after the service, join Christine in Emerson to create a timeline showing almost 2,000 years of Unitarian Universalist history, plus the history of our own fellowship. Learn why we were booted out of the Council of Nicaea in 325, and why the rooms on our campus have names instead of numbers. Newcomers, long-timers, all are welcome to participate in this interactive session. Next week, March 11th at 5:30 p.m., please join us for a community potluck. We'll provide 1 or 2 soups, beverages, greens for salad, and dressings. We invite you to bring bread, veggies for salad, dessert, or whatever else you'd like to share. We'll do the setup and cleanup. Just bring something to share and enjoy the fellowship with our UU members and friends. We'll have forms for you to list the items in your food so that our vegan friends and those with food allergies can choose what they can eat. Please register so that we can have an idea of how many people might attend. That on March 21st, Spring Equinox celebration, 6 p.m. in the great room here. Please join our UUFNN Cups Circle celebrating the spring equinox, an ancient holiday of Ostara. We will celebrate with song, ceremony, and lore for the coming of spring and the balance of the equinox. Family-friendly and a lovely way to welcome the Earth's awakening and gifts our Mother brings. All are welcome, valued, and celebrated. 6 p.m. here in the gathering room. Potluck to follow. Please bring a side or small donation. When we meet, we feast. Now, Philip, our treasurer, has announced.
Spirit. And join our choir in singing our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. 131, Love Will Guide Us. And then please remain standing after the song for our closing benediction. I will now extinguish our chalice and close our sacred time together. Connect with your neighbors in any way that feels comfortable to you, or simply cross your hands over your heart. Let us pledge ourselves to build upwards, literally and figuratively, building from collapse to the beautiful world we know is out there, just waiting for our attention and action to bring the full flower. Our worship is over. Let our service begin. Thank you and namaste.